Okay, you changed the name because there was a lot of really bad history associated with Mormonism, and they didn't want the reputational damage. That's why.
No, because we chose to make sure it was clear that we made this Jesus Christ the center of our church.
Honestly, if he ends up seeing this, I dare him to come message me and provide any singular case where our church has diddled little children in our temples.
Yeah.
Because
And then they're educating their congregations and having classes on anti-Mormonism, like how to defeat a Mormon, how to debunk a Mormon, stuff like that. And the thing is it's not stuff we've never heard of. It's stuff that we know ourselves. It's stuff that we've studied thoroughly, and we probably know better than them. They've become the very thing that they fought against as early Christians. The tables have turned. Hi, my name is Jonathan, and welcome to the Haystack. Today we have Katie with us, or Katelyn, sorry.
okay.
If she looks familiar, it's probably because you saw her on a clip or a full video from the Whatever podcast. She is a Latter-day Saint who went onto the podcast, and then they just dogged on her. And so we addressed some of those things in some previous videos on my end. I know that Ward Radio has also addressed that in one of their videos, and we'll go ahead and put those videos in the description of this video. With that, I wanted to introduce you to Katelyn.
Hi, guys. I haven't been on a podcast in a hot minute because the last one was a little traumatic.
You wouldn't suggest it.
All good. So yes, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm very faithful, and I would say not much else. I'm just regular old girl.
So how did you end up getting on to the Whatever podcast?
I just shot them a message, told them a little bit about myself, and asked if they would let me on because I thought I would be going on to debate people that are struggling with a lot of issues. And I wanted to, as I said in our messages, be like Jesus at the pool of Bethesda and reach down to the people who are at their lowest points in life. And that isn't what happened, but maybe one day, maybe one day.
All right. And so for our viewers, if you don't know what the Whatever podcast is, it's kind of, it's a very conservative or right wing, it seems like, right?
It's like a red pill kind of.
Yeah.
It's supposedly a dating podcast that gets a lot of politics brought into it. I've watched a lot of their episodes, hence why I went on and stuff. I wouldn't say anything terrible. I think they do some good things in the world, and there's obviously some bad in every podcast.
Yeah. And it's Christian based, correct?
So the host isn't Christian, from what I understand.
Okay, but he has a lot of them. Come on.
He has lots of different people come on, and they debate from both sides of the aisle and stuff. I don't think it's the host is anywhere particularly with politics or anything. I just think he's there to host.
All right. So you mentioned that you wanted to go on to there to, kind of be like at the pool of Bethesda, have a kind of Christ-like demeanor to help either debate or talk to some people who are having some issues. So what happened in that video that you were in?
So we were in the introduction where we were talking about where we are from, and some girl mentioned, I don't remember her name, she mentioned that she was from Utah.
Mhm.
And the host asked if she was a member of our church, and she said no. And then they mentioned some rebranding thing, and I mentioned, hey, I'm a member. And I misspoke on the show. I said we officially changed our name. I meant to say we officially re-clarified that our name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Latter-day Saints. I can't speak. But
It's Maddie. I am 22 and from Utah.
Are you Mormon or?
No, not Mormon.
But didn't they like rebrand? Let's get
They're
switches.
called the Church
Let's
of
get
Jesus.
switches. Okay, Mary.
They're called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am a member.
Oh, you're Mormon. Okay.
Well, not Mormon, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but thank you.
but it's a sect of Christianity.
Yes.
At least
It's Mormonism.
At least with the Mormons, that's the Mormon position.
We officially changed the name because we want to include Jesus Christ in the title and make that clear that that's the center of our church.
Okay, you changed the name because there was a lot of really bad history associated with Mormonism, and they didn't want the reputational damage. That's why.
No, because we chose to make sure it was clear that we made this Jesus Christ the center of our church.
I misspoke. I was quite nervous. I have a bit of anxiety, so just life happens, and I fumbled my words, and it's not what I intended. It was just a genuine mistake. I meant to say we re-clarified.
Yeah, and I think most people would be understanding of that, like we certainly are, because we know what you're referring to. But they kind of, like one of the other guests who was on a virtual guest was Andrew Wilson,
Yes.
And then he goes on to make some clearly false assumptions, kind of mixes us up with the FLDS and attributes the things going on with them to us.
Honestly, if he ends up seeing this, I dare him to come message me and provide any singular case where our church has diddled little children in our temples.
Yeah.
Because that is what he was claiming. And I used ChatGPT. I looked up multiple times. I couldn't find a single case in our church where we had that happen.
Yeah. I think most of us kind of realized he must not be talking about us because that's nowhere in our history. That's not even something people accuse us of. But that is something very prevalent with the FLDS. And so I imagine he was referring to them, got the name wrong, and then also is calling us by the wrong name too. So
Of course, of course. And I try to be understanding. I just don't, I believe, I don't know what religion he is, but every religion has bad people and stuff, people that do bad things and everything. And to claim that is the beliefs of a church based off of an individual's actions is completely wrong.
yeah.
And stuff. Unless it's like written by the church that that's something that's supposed to happen.
Yeah. And we certainly don't condone that type of behavior or anything like that. And it just goes to show that people who are confident enough in what they say can talk to ignorant masses. Because I was looking at the other girls' faces when he was talking, and then they started looking at you like, oh my gosh, like either this person's crazy or she's gone through some traumatic things, and you're just like, no, like, like, that's like, no, no, I'm going to tell you what you believe. You believe this, and unfortunately, as Latter-day Saints, we get that a lot. We get people telling us, no, you believe in this. I'm like, really? Show me where.
Yeah, I can't find I looked thoroughly for cases of that. Couldn't find any. If anybody wants to discuss that, I'll probably be in the comments of this video and I'll be happy to debate anyone if they want to and stuff. But I have a reason for my beliefs. It is based on personal revelation. I have done a lot of logical research and sought spiritual help, and this has really been the only path for me. I was raised in the church, but anytime I've tried to look elsewhere, it didn't feel right to me.
No, I think all of us, we're all encouraged to gain our own testimony. It's something our prophet has talked about immensely. Even Elder Bentnar said, if all you know is what people tell you or what you read in books, you will never know enough. We have to do the spiritual work, the prayerful work, the earnest seeking and learning for ourselves. And unfortunately, what we get, like especially in today's world, is a lot of people who say, "Prove it to me," or win this verbal judo match with me, and then it doesn't change anybody's minds.
And
it's just
you
I
bring
win
forth facts
superficial.
and they debate it. They debate the facts and they're like, well, there's a possibility that what if this happened?
Mhm.
Like the odds of all the atoms combusting and somehow creating human life is nearly impossible and stuff. And then creating more and more human lives and everything. It's just wild to me that even it's a debate that God exists.
Yeah, it's funny because it reminds me of some of the early graffiti in Rome where they're making fun of Christians and they draw a man on a cross with a donkey head and say so and so. I forget the guy's name. It's a Roman name, and
Yes.
this is so and so's God, you know, and it shows a donkey-headed man nailed to a cross. This is essentially what Christians are doing to us today,
Yes.
and it's what atheists do to all other religions. It's you believe in a sky god and you eat their flesh and drink their blood, with the sacrament, right? A sky daddy, right? Uh,
Oh,
and
magic underwear. Magic underwear. That's my favorite one.
yeah, mine's magic. I don't know about you guys. Like makes me do wonders. I don't know, but it's ridiculous that people would take the most sacred things it just and try to make a mockery of it. They've become the very thing that they fought against as early Christians.
Yeah.
The tables have turned.
And I would maybe understand it if we were in a country that wasn't as free with religion. But we're in a country where you can worship Satan and be completely fine. But you believe in a God that isn't different, but you believe in him differently and stuff, and you just get bashed on by the world.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about that. Like, why do Christian, yeah, I understand that they have their creeds and the Trinity. And to us, that's a Greek inspiration. It's something that was developed by man. The Nicene Creed, that whole thing was not a peaceful event. Um, and and people were kind of cast out. Other writings, other ideas were cast out. Get with the program or get out. This is the way government often works. It's the way I worked in government. It was like, are you going to be a team player? And I was like, what are you talking about? This is all referring to masks.
I'm all for being a team player if you play on my team as well.
Yeah. It's like, are you going to be a team player? I'm like, what does that mean? When did I not become a team player? And then they start making life very difficult. And
Yes.
today we have a lot of laws, a lot of uh, we've grown up a lot, but still it's this character assassination instead of real assassination. That you're destroying someone's character to the point of depression and suicide.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. I went on there and I genuinely didn't go on there because I wanted to fight people or something.
Mhm.
I went on there because I genuinely thought this was the best way to project my beliefs and hopefully impact one or two people.
Yeah.
And I was slightly disappointed. I'm hoping maybe one day I'll be confident enough and maybe be able to go on a different podcast or the same one again and be more thoroughly prepared and everything. But I just it burdened my spirit a bit and stuff. I felt like it was what I was supposed to do, but I'm sad I did it, if that makes sense. Just because it didn't make me feel better about myself.
Yeah.
And it
It,
didn't make me feel closer to God.
yeah. And it's probably hard. Like one of my questions is like after that situation where people obviously seemed kind of pitted against you, did it smooth out throughout the podcast?
Oh, definitely. Andrew,
Okay, good.
he and I actually agreed on a lot of things, like
Hmm.
the topic of abortion and stuff. And I brought up that it's illegal to kill an eagle egg, but it's not to kill a human child and whatever. And we were able to, kind of play off. Not much. I didn't talk too much because after that I was a little bummed out and stuff. But I think he agrees with most of what I'm saying. I think he just believes what I believe isn't what I believe. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And I have many Christian friends. Like I find them very good friends. Sometimes, often, they are far better friends than my Latter-day Saint friends.
Yes.
The thing is that they still go, but you're still a heretic. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you quote me a lot. You quote me about Jesus a lot, but I'm a heretic, you know.
No, and it's weird to me because the thing is, if somebody genuinely asked me a genuine question, like, why do you believe this?
Hmm.
I would state my personal belief. And then if they would have let me, I would have brought out my church website and just been like, this is why I believe it. This is what the prophets have said, quote for quote. And I would have been happy to do that. I was just very put on the spot, if that makes sense. And
Yeah,
I wasn't as prepared because I wasn't planning on mentioning what church I was from. And
yeah,
that's not because I'm ashamed of my church, but because I didn't want the bashing that comes with it.
yeah,
But my dad said something to me like, don't be ashamed of your church the night before. And I go on and I'm like, heck, I'm going to say what church I'm a part of because I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm very proudly a member. And the bashing was a little worse than I expected. But I'm not ashamed of it. I'm happy to discuss. Even if you don't agree with me, I don't debate to win people over. I debate to educate.
yeah. I was invited to a debate today, through, um, but it was a Christian. The first thing I asked was, "Have you read the Book of Mormon?" And they said no. And then they went on to, dog on what we believe even more and call it heresy and demonic. And I'm like, well, then there's no point in having a debate when
You're not willing to learn.
you're you're ignorant of what I'm trying to talk about or teach. You're unwilling to listen, and you've already set your standard. You just want to face to yell at.
Absolutely. No, I 100% agree. And funny thing is, I'll get in comments on maybe on that clip or something, and somebody will say something hateful, and I'll just be like, here's what the Bible says about this, or something
Mhm.
like people say, oh, living prophets don't exist today. I'm like, well, God is unchanging. He had prophets back then. Why won't he have them now?
Yeah.
And
When did he take them away?
yeah, why did he take them away and stuff? And
Sounds
then
like they added that.
yeah, it's like,
That's something
wow,
we get accused of.
wild. I know, wild. Or they'll say, Christ and God are the same person or whatever. And then I provide biblical evidence and nobody wants to hear it. So I like to debate with people that are willing to listen. And
Yeah. Well, I think what we are seeing is a cultural shift because statistically, you're seeing the church grow significantly. But what I've been noticing on social media is a lot more hate against Latter-day Saints.
it's like they know we're too powerful. Whoa.
And then they're educating their congregations and having classes on anti-Mormonism, like how to defeat a Mormon, how to debunk a Mormon, stuff like that. And the thing is it's not stuff we've never heard of. It's stuff that we know ourselves. It's stuff that we've studied thoroughly, and we probably know better than them. But they don't know anything else besides those talking points, and so they know go here, then here, then here.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they're losing their congregations. Their congregations are shrinking. On top of that, a lot of their pastors don't they believe different things than that brand of church that they got a job in. And so sometimes they're teaching things that they don't necessarily agree with, but that's who's funding. And ultimately, the only thing that they can all agree on is how much they hate Latter-day Saints.
It's wild to me because we're not doing human sacrifices. I mentioned that on the podcast and I got ragged on and stuff. But what I meant to say, but I didn't want to get too graphic on the podcast, is some satanic churches, they do abortions as like a worshiping process. And some people will purposely get pregnant to do an abortion, which I've read about. And it's horrific. So that's what I meant by human sacrifices on the podcast. But I obviously didn't want to get too graphic or anything. And I don't see why that is acceptable and considered freedom when ours is you literally can choose to be whatever level you want. You can choose how close of a relationship you want with God. You can walk away from him. That's your choice, but you can come back as well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because everything that we've been accused of, I'm like, I'm pretty sure we can find that in Christianity's history too.
The
And if that's
Catholic
part of
Church
the,
has had a lot worse than I think we've
yeah,
had it with the child issue.
they're like, tell me about black, like the priesthood ban. What do you think about black people? I'm like, I think they're children of God. And I
Yeah.
think we adopted bad Christian practices.
And there is something very interesting about the black people thing. Why it wasn't allowed at first for them to hold the priesthood, because let's be honest, a lot of the members back in that day in 1873 or 70 or whatever, they would not have accepted it. And that's obviously an awful thing. I don't agree with it, but I do think it was God's plan to bring people in slowly and stuff so our church had time to grow.
So there were actually many black people who had the priesthood early on, but as a mass, as a whole, during that whole middle stage, not so much. And I think there would have been a lot of prejudice. There was existing prejudice even among Latter-day Saints.
Yeah.
And so there was a divide. There's a lot of ignorance there. Um, and it's one of those things that we just simply had to learn from because it was brought in and taken back out. But at the same time, we weren't holding slaves when Christians and others were doing that. So I think it's a little two-faced to do such thing, say make such condemnations.
Yeah. And I don't think we're even, it's weird to me because Red Cross, we're the largest donor to the Red Cross. Our church is the largest donor to the Red Cross, and they say we hate people. It's weird to me because I'm like, we're saving lives. Yes, we collect money and we invest it and we do well with money. And that's another topic is that, well, we have billions, so why are we holding it all? There's a reason. Maybe it's because the world is going to get worse. We might need the funds for later.
Yeah. On top of that, Christ taught us to multiply our talents. Do you think the true church would be the one that is perpetually broke? I don't think it.
Concerts going on at other churches, and it's so wild to me.
Yeah, we gotta get make a church pastor. We gotta get this.
Zip line.
I want golden escalators. What the heck is going on?
Like I'm not mocking the way they believe. I mock the way they show it sometimes. It's not mocking, but it makes me chuckle sometimes.
I actually do follow a lot of Christians on social media, and they poke fun at some things like this, and it really is funny. We gotta laugh at our own foibles. That's part of life.
Yeah, I would much rather my funds go to the Red Cross or something, or someone dying, or child slaves in Ghana, versus some pastor ziplining over a pool where fireworks explode just so he can teach a lesson and grab everyone's attention.
I don't know. That sounds pretty
Seeing
good.
President Russell M. Nelson do that would be pretty cool. I
Yeah.
don't know. I would pay to see that.
Oh, that'd be ridiculous. Um, well, there was one thing. The thing is that with our funds, nobody talks about how much they like all the tithing funds, they're just being kept. Thing is that no, those tithing funds have been invested wisely and have multiplied. And so, are you mad at the surplus that was gained through investments? Because they always bring up the mall. Like, does that mall cost less than the surplus of the interest that we've received?
Yeah.
Because then that's additional money that was grown from tithing, and tithing isn't about money. Did Jesus stop the old woman paying her tithe
No,
when she
she
was
gave
casting her mite?
way more in his opinion, which I fully respect. I would rather someone give 100% versus 100% of 1% of their being.
There we go. The thing is it always comes back to Jesus Christ, but then the retort is always, well, you believe in a different Jesus. Yeah, a more powerful Jesus, I guess.
I think it's a greater sacrifice to sacrifice your son than it is to sacrifice yourself. That's just my opinion. And stuff to have your only begotten son, your perfect child, be sacrificed for all your other children. That would be harder than sacrificing yourself, in my opinion. So I just think that makes God more loving.
Yeah. Going back to this podcast, did anybody offer you any comfort after the fact? And just like, hey, thanks for.
I wasn't bawling my eyes out, but no. Lydia Taylor Davis, I believe it's her last name. She's a very big pro-choice person, helped a lot with overturning Roe v. Wade and stuff. You know, she does a lot of big things. She and I messaged a little bit. We haven't talked in a while and stuff, but no, nobody really reached out. I had my dad, and he was great.
Yeah.
And stuff. I love that man. I said that on the podcast too. He's the best guy ever. But no, I wasn't distraught over it. I kind of expected it to happen. I was just disappointed by it.
Yeah. I would think like it's kind of obvious when people kind of jump dog on people or all kind of cast shade towards somebody, and that's what it really does seem like. So I was wondering if did they stand in need of those who stand did they comfort those who stand in need of comfort? Because yeah.
I didn't make it clear I needed comfort, but
Yeah.
I don't think even if I did, if I said, I'm so sad, please, I need a hug right now, I don't think anybody would have done that.
Yeah, I guess they have had people do that and walk off, and they're like, "I can't handle this. I want to be on OnlyFans and it be accepted." You know, like,
Oh my goodness, why won't you accept me? It's like you are choosing to do that, but okay. I thought I would be debating people who I genuinely disagreed with, and I thought I could talk to them. I got a little laughed at, but I brought a folder full of notes and studies and everything on different
I
issues
saw
that didn't get brought up.
I saw you looking at some papers, and I'm like, she came prepared. You know, like,
I came prepared this time too.
yeah. Well, do you want to jump on some of those subjects?
Oh, no, if you bring up like the talking points of people debate us saying, oh, we believe God and Jesus are different beings. I have a couple script Bible verses supporting that. I have some studies talking about why it might have been beneficial for Joseph Smith to have multiple wives and why it was beneficial for the wives and stuff. So whatever you think is good. But also what I find very interesting is we hated on, oh, he slept with a bunch of women. There's actually no evidence that Joseph Smith slept with anyone outside of Emmett Smith, because the one woman they did a biological test on to see if she was Joseph Smith's daughter didn't test positive. She wasn't his daughter.
Yeah, that was Josephine. I forget her last name, but
Leon.
Okay, and her mother told her on her deathbed, who was one of the sealed or plural wives of Joseph, apparently and she said, "You're Joseph's daughter."
Yeah,
but that's not right. Like,
yeah, no. I just think it's interesting because we don't even our current church leaders don't have as much information on it as I think they would like. But the fact is, maybe you should think this church might be pretty stinking awesome because we love it no matter what. And there is a reason we choose to stay in this church despite that whole controversy. And it's because it makes us feel closer to God.
Yeah, we've had personal witnesses. I think people do come across faith crises, and I think it's actually kind of necessary sometimes.
Absolutely.
But my advice is to be as Adam. where you are still being faithful and keeping those covenants, those ordinances. You're still keeping your covenants without knowing the full reason why in some cases. And then further light and knowledge does inevitably come. And it comes by authority. And that's something I like to say a lot because people do come into faith crises and they can either get froggy and jump out and get scared or go, oh my gosh. But if they're rooted on Jesus Christ and if they are willing to be humble and forgiving and patient, it all comes clear because all those same criticisms of Joseph Smith would have been said of Abraham, of Moses, John the Baptist, Jesus.
It's you got to remember Jesus got killed because he was hated so much. Maybe being hated on isn't the worst thing in the world. Maybe it might just mean you disagree with people and people don't like that you disagree with them.
Yeah. And when you're going through persecution, you're in the best company of souls who have ever walked this earth.
Absolutely.
So I think President Holland said that at some point when he's Elder Holland. It sounds like something he'd say.
I'm terrible with the name thing. I'm like, I don't which one.
So there is actually a very strong community of Latter-day Saint women who are involved on social media, who do debates, and sometimes they even get involved with debates on like TikTok and so maybe we can get you connected with those people.
I would love that and stuff. I'm happy to share. I just want to share with the right people.
All right.
And I can admit I'm not the best with like remembering verses in my head. Like everybody has their different strengths. I'm more better at the loving everyone and all of God's creatures versus the remembering every single Bible verse.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's the part that matters the most is the behavior, the character, and the love, not so much the memorized recitations that anybody could spout off if they wanted to. ChatGPT could give that to you, but it can't love you.
Yeah, no. ChatGPT is being used as a therapist for some people, which I think is wild. Sorry, that was off topic.
I have yet to meet anybody who's actually been healed by therapy. I've met people healed by Christ. So
no, therapy brought me closer to Christ because it told me to seek out like more about myself and then I Christ. And so that helps me. But also I got called out for being bipolar. I need to add one thing on I don't have bipolar personality disorder. I have bipolar mood disorder. This got brought up on the podcast and I got a bit dogged on for that because I'm apparently a crazy psycho. They're very different. Basically, I just get sad sometimes. I just get sad. It might just be my hormones. Who knows?
I know I've done lots of assessments with people where we go and engage lots of things and refer to a psychologist or any of those things. But what I learned is that any number of people, you take a handful of anybody without any diagnosis and you put them under a scrutiny of testing and diagnosis, everyone will be diagnosed with something.
I think I've been overdiagnosed, to be honest, and stuff. And that's not because my doctors are hateful. It's just because I had a lot of problems and I was seeking an answer that I couldn't really find within myself. Now that I've found it more within myself, I've been able to be like, hey, maybe I'm not that crazy psycho. And I'm not a crazy psycho. I just say that because, and I don't think mental illness makes people crazy psychos. I'm just speaking for myself because, your brain works a certain way.
Yeah. Laugh at our own foibles.
Yes. Stuff. But no, I just think as Christians, you need to hold yourself to the standard of being loving. And it doesn't matter what diagnosis or how a person looks and stuff. I think fat shaming culture is kind of a problematic thing. I did want to bring this up to you. How do you feel about people? Like, I feel like, yes, we shouldn't encourage obesity, but I also don't think we should like hate on someone who's overweight.
Yeah, I think everyone knows if all of the things that we did showed outwardly on our body, everyone would be criticized all the time. The thing is I know I eat a lot of ice cream. I know it. I was very fit not long ago. Well, I guess a couple of years ago. I was in peak physique of my life. I was also under the most intense scrutiny and stress and pressure of my life too. But I think it goes back to the word of wisdom. There's a lot of unnecessary difficulties that I have because I've gained weight that make life a little bit more irritating and slow me down. And so if I was thinner, it wouldn't be an additional weight of stress. And so I think we logically know what we're doing, and we want to change it.
It's similar to glorifying sin, but it's not exactly a sin to be fat. It's just you're not respecting your body as a temple if you make choices that disrespect that body.
You're being unwise to some extent and making things harder than they need to be.
Yeah, that was just a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's been on my mind, so my brain kind of goes 1,000 miles a minute and stuff, and most people can't keep up with me. You seem to be handling it pretty well. I jump over places.
It's because I don't stay on subject very well. I jump around quite a bit.
Yes.
We are running a little bit out of time. I do want to get you connected with these people. So after this, I'll get you connected with some very good friends of mine. And hopefully we can get you engaged in serving that desire that you want to. In the end, I'll diagnose you as a daughter of God. We're all diagnosed as children of a loving Heavenly Father. And with that being said, we'd love to have you on again if you ever want to do that.
I would love that, especially if we bring on another person that maybe disagrees with us. That would be fun.
I know a lot of people that agree with us.
I can probably find a couple people that disagree with us.
Yeah. Okay. And well, then you have a YouTube channel?
I do. It's called Cater Talks a Lot. I talk a lot, if you haven't noticed. And it is a animal welfare pet education. I don't really talk politics on there just because I don't want to turn people away from learning about how to treat their animals.
Yeah.
Because they disagree with my beliefs on politics and stuff. I think animal welfare comes from anyone. I think we have dominion over animals, and that means we need to treat them with respect. I'm not some crazy vegan who thinks, oh, we can't eat meat. I just think factory farming isn't the best solution.
All right. Well, it looks like we're about to run out of time, but what I do want to have people have a way to find you, and let's get you connected and get going with some of the other things you want to do.
Instagram or YouTube channel or whatever, and people can reach out to me anytime they want.
Excellent. I'll put those in the description below. I'm sure you'll be in the comments. And please like, share, subscribe, ask questions, comment, and heck, if Word Radio, they brought up that video with you, and if they want to have you on, please, Cardin, hit her up.
I would love that.
And take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
We'll never surrender, we'll never yield. Brace yourselves, for the storm is near. We'll stand together, have no fear. Our heritage, we will defend.